Assalamu alaikum. This lecture is for class 7th, and today our topic is the movement of ocean water or the circulation of ocean water. Now let's understand the movement of water. The movement of water takes place in two ways. So movement of water can be horizontal movement or vertical movement. When I say vertical movement, it is simply the upwelling and the sinking that takes place, and this is by tides. So vertical movements, we can say there are tides. Then horizontal movements. Horizontal movements are the currents and the waves. So the current means you have the water that moves. So whenever we say current, there is movement of water, and when we say wave, there is no movement of water that takes place. That's the major difference between a current and a wave. Now, what causes the movement of ocean water? The movement in ocean water is caused due to variations in temperature, variations in density, winds blowing across the water surface, gravitational pull of the moon and the sun. Now we will discuss about waves. The rising and falling of surface water of ocean is called a wave. In other words, we can define it as a disturbance which moves through or over the surface of a fluid. The formation of waves is caused by the wind, which pushes the surface water upwards and downwards. These waves, they travel in the direction of the wind, and the height of the waves, they depend upon the intensity of the winds that blows. So a lightly flowing wind, it forms the gentle waves, while as the strong winds form very huge and high waves, which can be disastrous and terrible. Earthquake under the ocean, they can form waves which are giant in size and are very destructive in nature. These waves are called tsunami waves. Tsunami is a Japanese word which means harbor waves. These tsunami waves, they are destructive due to their great speed and height, which can be as high as 20 meters to 30 meters. These tsunami waves, they occur when a large mass of water is displaced at the same time in the form of a wave. The tsunami waves, they can travel at the speed of 500 kilometers to 1000 kilometers per hour. When these tsunami waves, when they enter in shallow water, the speed of the waves decreases, but their height increases and making them more dangerous. And these disastrous waves, they destroy anything which comes in their way. Even the large ships are pushed and inverted by the tsunami waves. These tsunami waves, they cause a great loss of property or life. Now our another subtopic is tides. Every day at regular intervals, the seawater generally rises and falls twice. This phenomena of alternate rise and fall in the level of seawater is called tides. In other words, we can say tides are the regular rise and fall of water of the ocean. Each day, the ocean surface rises and falls because of tides. When the level of seawater rises, it is called high tide, and when the level falls, it is called low tides. The reason for tide formation is the gravitational attraction of the moon and the sun. The high tide and the low tide, they do not have the same height every day, and the relative position of moon is responsible for the height of the wave in oceans. When the moon is very close to the earth, it exerts great gravitational force on the earth and causing water to rise. Now, spring tides and neap tides. On the full moon and new moon, the sun, the moon and the earth are almost in a straight line. The sun and the moon, it exerts combined gravitational pull. Thus the high tides are the highest and the low tides are the lowest, and this is called spring tides. While as on the half moon day, the sun and the moon, they make a right angle to the earth. Thus the sun and the moon tends to cancel the gravitational pull of each other. This results in very small high and low tide, and this is called the neap tide. Now these tides, they are generated by gravitational pull of the moon and sun. Second is centripetal force of the rotating earth. Ocean currents. What are ocean currents? An ocean current is a directed movement of ocean water that flows in one of the Earth's oceans. These currents are generated from the forces acting upon the water like the Earth's rotation, the wind, the temperature and salinity differences, and the gravitation of the moon. These ocean currents, they can flow for thousands of kilometers. These currents in the oceans, they are mostly narrow and move with a speed of 3 kilometers to 10 kilometers per hour. But in some areas, the currents are very broad. This is called a drift. Now, on the basis of temperature, the ocean currents can be warm currents and cool currents. The cool currents, they move from the poles to the tropics or lower latitudes, while as the warm currents, they move from the equatorial region towards the poles. Warm currents rises the temperature of the land around, while as the cool currents lower the temperature of the land around. The place where cool and warm currents meet, a dense fog appears, reducing the visibility badly. These areas are the best field for fishing. Thus, the areas around Newfoundland and Japan are good grounds for fishing. Now, factors that affect ocean currents. Winds and location of the continents are two factors that affect ocean currents. Now, what causes ocean currents? The mechanisms responsible for creation of ocean currents are global movements of winds and Coriolis force, Ekman flow, temperature and density differences, geostrophic influences, pressure gradient, upwelling, and the configuration of ocean flows. Thank you.